What's going on, everyone? Welcome into episode number 68 of Around the Feld, our NFC North recap pod. Reagan, Dave, it's good to see you fellas after a few week hiatus. Glad to be back talking some ball. How you fellas doing today?
It's
Cheers.
glad that I'm happy to have you back, Colin. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
you were
miss you
doing, but
guys. Work got a little tough, but appreciate you guys keeping the ship afloat while I was away, and now I'm back ready to roll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure our viewers appreciate it, the sacrifices we make, right? Sorry,
I'm sure
guys.
they
I,
do.
I figured you'd come up with a better excuse than that, but it
Yeah,
is
I
what it is.
apologize to the listeners, absolutely the diehards. But we're back, man. We're back, ready to go. We got two more division recaps. We got the draft coming up. It's an exciting time in the NFL world and a lot of news since we last spoke, Reagan.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of news, obviously. It's been
Big
like
deal
three
went down
weeks since we
today.
talked NFL.
Yeah, let's start there, man. Stephon Diggs traded to Houston for a second round pick. Houston also gets a fifth and a sixth. Wow. I mean, we've been hearing rumblings for the past, I want to say, year and a half, Reagan, that Diggs was unhappy and the sub tweets. Even Trayvon was getting in there a little bit with some sub tweets. And finally, the Bills pulled the trigger despite the fact they have to eat 30 million in dead cap to get rid of Stephon Diggs. I mean, getting a second round pick is not a bad compensation considering what Keenan Allen went for a fourth. Cooper back in the day went for a fifth for veteran receivers that are over 30 years old. I mean, for Houston, you got to love it, man. You're gearing up. You have a rookie on, I mean, a rookie. You have a superstar quarterback on a rookie deal. This is what you can afford to do, man. I mean, I think for Houston, it makes a lot of sense with him, with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. That's a disgusting wide receiver trio. They brought in Joe Mixon. They got Dalton Schultz. They have a great offensive line. That offense could be top five, maybe even top three in the league next year, Reagan.
Yeah, I mean, as a Jet fan, I'm fucking thrilled.
Yeah, you gotta
The
be.
Bills wide receiver core now is very, very interesting. So
Curtis
I'm curious.
Samuel, Shakir, you're right, Shakir. That's their top two.
Yeah, and Matt Collins. So it's a lackluster offense. I mean, hey, Dalton Kincaid. Oh my gosh, his value
Woo!
skyrocketed from this. He's going to go to his favorite target like instantly. He's a guy. If you can still get him in Dynasty, I would be targeting him like crazy right now. And then on the Houston side of things, I mean, yeah, it sucks for Nico and Tank Dell if you have them in Dynasty. Obviously, definitely going to temper their expectations. But I'm excited. I mean, it's kind of a lateral move, if not a downgrade for Diggs, just because he's going from being the guy to now having to compete with Nico Collins. And I think at this point, it's safe to say they're about even. I don't think. I think you could clearly make. I don't think you could say with certainty that Stephon Diggs is better than Nico Collins at this point. Like obviously his career is better, but at this point, can you say that for sure? No.
And Nico had a better year last year. I mean, when Joe Brady kind of took over the play calling, Diggs almost faded out of the offense a little bit, and they started to run the ball more. James Cook got way more involved, and they started spreading the ball out. I mean, I don't know. That's a phenomenal 1-2 punch, and obviously Tank Dell coming back from injury. I mean, it's really nice, man. For Diggs though, is he going to get the same amount of targets that he was getting? Not necessarily this year on the back end, but it's just a lot of mouths to feed in that Houston offense.
And obviously they got Joe Mixon as well, so there's a good back in the red zone too that you can hand the ball off to. So that might take away some touchdown opportunities. It's no Devin Singletary, it's Joe Mixon, a guy who is elite at scoring the football. So and Dalton Schultz is there too. They just paid him. So
Yep. I mean, great weaponry for a young quarterback. Now, obviously, wide receiver, a massive need for the Bills. I'd be very surprised if they don't target one in the first round this year in a very deep wide receiver class. All right. Other wide receiver news, Reagan. We got to talk about Rashee Rice. Not good news. He was racing on the street with a Lamborghini and a Corvette. There was an accident caused. Obviously, not good for Rashee Rice and the Kansas City Chiefs. How do you think this impacts his career? Obviously, we're not lawyers. We don't really know what happened to the extent of the law, but does this affect KC's draft strategy in your mind, considering they did bring in Hollywood, but Rashee Rice looked really good as a rookie?
I don't know if it affects their draft strategy because I think they were still going to need to target a wide receiver anyway. Because when you look at that team, one of their biggest holes is at the wide receiver position, even with Rice and Brown. And it's not like Brown is the future there. So I think they would have already been looking at wide receiver anyway. A lot of people had him taking one in the first round, but I still think that's a big need. Yeah, I mean, if I don't know if you really believe he's innocent and nothing will happen, go target him in Dynasty. If you think that's the end of Rashee Rice, or then trade him away. I don't know. I mean, if I obviously don't think this is the end. As far as I know, nobody died in this situation.
No, no
So
one died. Someone was in the hospital, but I don't believe
I
anyone
can't
died.
imagine him getting more than a slap on a wrist and a suspension, not even for this year, but the next year. I think it's going to take a while. So I wouldn't be shocked if he played this full year. And then going into year 3, he missed like 3, 4 games, kind of like the Kamara situation that took over a year to actually get suspended. So I'm definitely trying to target him and then using this as leverage in Dynasty. But I feel like if I am the owner, I'm just saying, let's see how things play out because I would not want to sell him for cheap when it
I
could be
absolutely
just a
agree.
slap on the wrist.
Absolutely agree. You can't sell him now for pennies on the dollar. You got to hold and see what happens with the legal situation. He looked really good as a rookie. He still has Pat Mahomes as quarterback. Luckily, I mean, there was talks of firearms being in the vehicles. I don't know. So it could be more of a penalty, but I think a suspension is certainly coming. But for dynasty purposes, I'd still keep him. Now for redraft, if it's still up in the air come August, obviously his stock might fall a little bit. And he is worth a dart throw later in the draft if you can get him for even the back half of the season. Whatever happens with the
Oh yeah.
suspensions.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
100%,
Reagan,
brother.
let's talk some Jets football, huh? I know you love talking your Jets.
Hassan Reddick. Come on
Yeah,
now.
Hassan Reddick, one of the. I mean, he's an elite pass rusher. There's no doubt
Oh my
about it.
God, yeah, dude.
Traded
Yeah,
to the Philly for a conditional third that can become a second based on play time and him reaching 10 plus sacks, which I think is
should
very,
happen. He's done it the
very
past 4
doable
years.
given the caliber player he is and the defensive talent around him. Reagan, you're the Jets fan. Take the floor here, my friend. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited. Obviously, I know he's an older guy. He's 29, but you know what? We gave up a essentially because I honestly do think they're going to manage it and try to keep him below that. So we only give up a third rounder because the way Salah runs his defense, we do a lot of rotations. So I think they're going to want to keep him fresh, especially with that age in us trying to make a playoff push. I think they're going to try to limit him at times when they can because it's a 17 game season and they're hoping to play in the postseason. So I think that'll be a third rounder. I'm really excited. Obviously, everyone called it a down year last year. Dude still had 11 sacks. The year before that, he had over 15. So he's a beast. I think he'll pair nice with Jermaine Johnson. And obviously, we just got Kinlaw and Quinnen Williams, the all pro on the inside. So our defensive line's looking great. And if you told me we could trade in Bryce Huff's best year for a down year for another guy, because essentially the numbers were very similar. Obviously, Bryce Huff had a higher pressure percentage, but sack wise, they were both matching. So yeah, we got the older guy, but the more proven commodity, and he's actually cheaper than Bryce Huff. So
Yeah, but Bryce Huff is just kind of scratching his ceiling right now, so that's kind of why it
he
does
is.
hurt losing him. But Reddick, for a team that is all in with next year, it's Super Bowl or bust with Aaron Rodgers. It does make sense that they got him cheaper in a win now move. So I do like it. I absolutely like it. And you forgot to mention Will McDonald, first round pick last year. He'll
Yeah.
obviously be more part of the rotation with Huff out the door, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I do like that trio, though. I mean, great teams do have phenomenal pass rushes that they can rotate. So this is really good for the Jets, man. Good move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the whole Bryce Huff thing, like obviously you're saying he's just scratching the surface, which I think is true, but also at the end of the day, is it a fluke? It was one insane season, and it still was only 10 sacks. So I don't know. A lot of money for a guy whose best season is 10 million. Or I
Oh,
mean,
sounds
10 sacks.
10 million. Woo.
Yeah, he got 17 million a year. So
All right, let's go back to the Bills losing players. It seems to be the theme of the offseason for Buffalo. Tre'Davious White signs with the Rams, 1 year, 10 million. The Rams, man, had a sneaky good offseason addressing the offensive line and the secondary. Obviously, Tre'Davious White has struggled to stay healthy over the last couple seasons, but when he's healthy, man, he's a good corner. I mean, his ceiling was one of the best corners in the league. Won't be that anymore, but still, for a team that had such a young secondary last year and was able to overexceed expectations, adding a veteran like this is a really good move for the Rams, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously a dart throw. I mean, you gave him a 1 year contract. It's low risk, high reward, in my opinion. It was a position in need, and it's obviously if you can get him to even like half of what he can be when healthy. I mean, I'd say that's a pretty good contract. So low risk, high reward move.
I like it. Other cornerback news. L'Jarius Sneed traded to the Tennessee Titans for a third round pick, signed a 4 year, $76 million extension. Kansas City could not afford to pay Sneed with the Mahomes contract, with the Chris Jones contract, with the Kelsey contract, with what they're paying their offensive line. Obviously, when you have Trent McDuffie on the other side, it makes the loss hurt a little bit less. And Kansas City has shown that they can draft guys in the secondary. But for Tennessee, absolutely love this move. Defense struggled last year, especially in the back half. So for getting a guy that was an absolute stud last year and route to a Super Bowl win, great move for the Titans. They had a sneaky good offseason as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, I actually think there's a chance this team could win the division next year. They're making all
Whoa,
the right
you're
moves right
back
now.
on the Titans bandwagon?
I am, because they're making all the right moves right now, and they still haven't been drafted. I mean, they're really addressing the offensive line. They're building it up around Levis. They went out and got Calvin Ridley, which I like a lot. Obviously, Burks, we'll see if he can become anything. And then the running back position, like, yeah, you lost Henry, but now we'll get to see more of Will Levis. And I think the fact that they address the O-line, they're addressing the defense. I think this team's going to be very sneaky, and I'm curious to see what they do in the first round. But if they had another lineman in the draft, I mean, this could be one of the best fronts and offensive lines in football next year.
I don't think it could be one of the best offensive lines. They have one guy,
No,
Pierce
they
Skronsky.
No, they went out. They went out and got the guard.
What guard?
Wow, fuck. This offseason's been too crazy. I know they signed the lineman, and I guess call me a casual.
They have gaping
Um,
holes at tackle, which is why every mock draft I see has the Titans taking Joe Alt at number 7.
but that's my whole point. Is they're gonna address the line even more. Oh man,
It's their biggest fucking hole.
yeah.
Maybe quarterback.
No,
I'm a Levis believer.
their line was obviously one of the biggest holes last year, but the fact that they have Skronsky, I expect them to take Joe Alt or
JC Latham's getting a lot of love too.
how do you pronounce the Penn State
Fashanu? Yeah, he's not
Fashanu,
really.
yeah.
I kind of see him going more in the teens now in a lot of the mock drafts because
Yeah,
he
but
has. I mean, he has the raw traits, but there's guys that are more polished. Like Latham is getting more love than him right now.
They
from
got
Alabama.
Cushenberry, the center, so that's
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, he's solid. He's not great. He's solid.
I mean, still. And then they went, and so that was big, the fact that they got him, and then they got a Wouzier also at corner. So Kenneth Murray, we'll see. I mean, that probably won't pan out, but
I mean, just another linebacker taking the first round doesn't pan out.
yeah.
Kenneth
But
Murray.
Cushenberry was the guy I was thinking of. So the fact that hopefully Skronsky pans out, and then they go and get Joe Alt. I mean, they go from one guy to three guys like that if it all works out well. So they're definitely making a lot of the right moves.
Yep. All right, Reagan. Last piece of news. Let's hear your thoughts on the new kickoff rule. You digging it?
I mean, yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, we most of the plays last year were touchbacks. We barely see returns anymore. So it sounds like this will open up a lot more for returns. I don't really care with the whole onside kick thing. Like, what do you get? Like one or two surprise onside kicks a year, if that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me. I mean, even like most of the time when you're doing the onside kicks, they know you're onside kicking it anyway. So what does it matter?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I love it. I think it'll bring more electricity to the game.
Yeah, I don't get why people are mad at this. The kickoffs are fun to watch. A kickoff return touchdown is electric. Like it helps your fantasy teams. There's more opportunity for your defense and special teams to get you points instead of it all being touchbacks. So I believe the touchback rate was over 70% last year. I'd imagine with this new kickoff rule, teams like kickoff teams are going to try to pin guys deep, and you have the opportunity to do that. And it's also going to force more returns because now the touchback goes to 35. Makes the game more exciting instead of just kicking the ball through the back of the end zone. I like it. And I think you mentioned the onside kick. I think there's a chance that they adopt the XFL, what they do instead of, or I guess it's what the United Football League now.
Yeah,
What
the
they do is
USFL.
like doing a 4th and 15 as opposed to an onside kick. Because onside kick recovery levels now with the new rules are so small. It's like less than 10%. So I think
still
that'd be
like that
interesting
more
too.
though. Honestly, I still like the onside kicks because I feel like 4th and 15 is like, like you have a great chance. Where like the onside kicks, like I just feel like it adds so much extra to the game, and I feel like it almost rewards the team that's been down and trailing and needs to get the ball back too much by giving them a 4th and 15 chance. Like I feel like it should still be something where it's very unlikely that you get it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just the integrity. I mean, I don't know. It's the game that we grew up watching. It'd be a big switch, but also
Yeah,
in the NFL's mindset, it would add more excitement to the end of games.
it would. Yeah, it would definitely. A lot more comebacks would happen because I mean, a 4th and 15, that's like probably triple to quadruple the percentage of it happening over an onside kick being
Especially if
recovered.
you got a guy like Mahomes fucking doing it, then it's like, all right, we're in trouble
Exactly
here.
Fuck that.
All right,
that.
that wraps up the news. Drock, what do we got for questions?
First off, before Drock gets into it, Reagan, you do look ridiculously skinny, brother. So whatever you're doing, keep track of it, my dude. You look real good.
75 hard,
shaved.
baby.
You look good,
75
bro.
hard.
It's because I shaved.
What day
Yeah.
number you on, Billy Goat?
Uh, I don't know. I ate a bunch of dessert today. No, I'm kidding. 30 something. Low 30, like 32.
Do
Almost
you look
halfway
good?
there.
I think it is shaving for you that makes you look skinnier, but you probably are just dropping weight anyways. You just do look real thin.
Yeah, I had to be on my baby shit mode. So
Attaboy. All right, let's hop into the first person. Austin.
Aussie the
First
Snowman
question.
Classic.
Should people really be all in on the Packers this season? And do you guys believe in the hype?
I think you should, and I 100% believe in the hype. I think what we saw from Jordan Love in the playoffs, there's clearly something there. I mean, we saw him beat a lot of good teams last year, and he really came on towards the end. And he honestly, like when you look at the weapons outside of Aaron Jones, it was a lot of unproven commodities. So he kind of had that, like, to me, he had that factor where he was elevating the guys around him. There's not a lot of big names there. Like, yeah, Christian Watson showed flashes his rookie year, but then last year he really didn't do much. I mean, he was doing it with
Christian
like
Watson's like the third or fourth best
and
receiver on the
that's what
team.
I was, and that's what I was gonna say, and that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Like it was all Romeo Dobbs, Wicks. I mean, it was
Jaden Reed.
Musgrave at times, Jaden Reed, Kraft. Then so it was a different supporting cast. I mean, obviously at Aaron Jones, and I'm a little shocked with that move, but you know what? Josh Jacobs is a better runner, I think. I don't know. That move's still a little weird to me because Aaron Jones came on at the end and was like one of the biggest factors as well. But and it is a little scary with the defense because yeah, they started to figure it out at the end, but they got exposed a lot. And the kicking game, like they need to get rid of Carlson, get rid of him. So, but yeah, I'm in on it. I think if Jordan Love continues to take that next step, because I don't think he's hit his peak or even close to his peak. So definitely a sneaky MVP candidate, and they're a sneaky team to at least make the Super Bowl next year, I think.
I agree with you, Reagan. Not to spoil too much of what I have to say later about the Packers, but damn, it looks like the Packers did it again. You know, taking a quarterback in the first, sitting him for a couple years, and he comes out and just plays really well right away. And I think people started to realize how good he was during the back half of the season as Green Bay started to heat up. But he really introduced himself to the NFL world when he went into Jerry's world and beat Dallas on the road. That was insanely impressive. He looked really good. I mean, and he did it with the youngest weaponry in the league and an offensive line that was beat up. So it just goes to show you, man, they did it again. And they were smart by doing the 5th-year option and working that number down and agreeing to that deal before the season. Obviously, LaFleur believed in Jordan Love, and they got that deal done. So now, for what the caliber of player that he is, he's really cheap next season. And that team is only going to grow more together as they play more because it's such a young offense. Packers are legit, man. I think they're definitely going to be a playoff team next year, and they have a shot to win the division. I know Chicago's going to be much better. I know Detroit won 12 games last year, but the North is going to be a really strong division next year with Green Bay in the mix of it.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you have so many owners coming up with so many different ideas. So, whichever one of the million people who have a stake in the Packers who came up with that idea, good job. I
I'd
might
love
have
to
to
get an
invest.
ownership. Does Around the Felt want to become part owners of the Green Bay
Yeah, I
Packers?
mean, freaking, we all just become Packers fans. Fuck the Jets, fuck the Giants. We're just rooting for our team that we own a stake in. When the boys are booming, we're booming.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would. Yeah. All right, what do we got next, Dave?
All right, thanks, Austin. But he did give me some 4 trivia questions. So, like always, you're the man. Caleb,
Rock right there.
Caleb's got 2 questions for us. Under what conditions can the Bears win the division this year? And is that even realistic?
I think it's definitely realistic because they clearly came on at the end. I mean, this roster's super talented and they had a lot of cap space. They have a lot of draft capital, obviously. It helps when you have 2 first rounders and one of them is going to be a first round pick. Obviously, you didn't get what a lot of people thought you could get for Justin Fields, but I think that's kind of because you played your hand too much and maybe everyone was overrating Justin Fields a little bit. But
They have no leverage. No
yeah,
leverage.
that's what I mean. They showed their cards.
Yeah.
You had pocket rockets and you showed the guy next to you had pocket rockets. You showed the guy on the left to you had pocket rockets.
I wouldn't say pocket rockets. I'd say like you had pocket eights and guys saw
Ah,
your cards and like I can beat that.
I mean, before free agency started, you had pocket rockets and then you lost. I don't know, man. They lost all their leverage and that hurt them, but still, I like where they're at. Obviously, getting Keenan Allen just Keenan Allen is huge. We saw how big he was for Justin Herbert's development, that safety blanket, huge target guy. So I think he'll be huge for Caleb Williams, assuming they take him. Maybe I'll get into that later. No, obviously they're taking him. And then DJ Moore was a beast last year, so I like that. And I'm curious to see what they do with their second first-round pick, whether it's getting another offensive lineman to try to build it up or if it's addressing the defensive side of the ball, although their defense really came on, especially after getting Montez Sweat. So it'll be interesting. They have a lot of options there.
Yeah, one correction. They do not have a lot of draft capital. They have 4 picks, but 2 of those picks are
But
obviously number
are
1 and number
premium.
9, which is why at number 9, there's a lot of teams that have gaping holes at receiver and tackle. The Bears don't. They can go receiver, but now by adding Keenan Allen with DJ Moore, you don't have to. The Bears are in a position that they could move back a few spots, still get a great player, maybe a pass rusher to pair with Montez Sweat. Eberflus does want one. And then you can get more picks in the middle rounds to continue to build out this roster. Is it likely that they win a division next year? I'd say no, but they're certainly in the mix. I mean, there's at least a 10% chance I'd say they can win this division. The way they
Think
played
more
in the
than
back
that.
half of the year, and the reason Eberflus is still the coach as a defensive head coach is how the defense turned it on in the back half of the season when they added Montez Sweat, when Jalen Johnson took the next step and became an all-pro at corner. I mean, obviously, they're going to add Caleb Williams. I did see some shit like Cynthia Freeland on NFL Network saying, "Oh, I think they should take Jaden Daniels." Like, all right, let's relax. Caleb Williams is the number 1 guy in this class. It's really not even close.
Relax.
You're going to get a rookie quarterback that's most considered the best prospect since Andrew Luck on your roster for 5 years on a rookie deal. They're in a Houston situation. If he
They're in a
plays
better
as
situation than
he's
Houston.
supposed to.
I think it's safe to say they're in the best situation ever. Out of any, can you think of any team that's ever put a better team around their first round pick in year one? I can't, and at least in recent memory. Like, what guy is coming to a better situation? I mean, you're coming in with 2 elite wide receivers, an offensive line that's not bad. You get Cole Kmet, who's a very solid tight end, and your defense isn't bad. I mean, I get and I'm talking strictly first overall pick. Because
you said first round. I'm like, well,
all
I
right,
mean, Lamar
yeah,
Jackson
okay,
got
all
picked
right,
by
that
the
was way too
Ravens
broad.
in the
First
round.
overall
I mean,
pick. Can you think of a first overall pick
No,
that's
never.
coming to a better
Obviously not.
situation?
I
I
mean,
don't
that
even
trade
think
they
there's
made is one of the best of
close.
all time. It's one
Dude,
of the best
because
of all
think about
time.
it, like Trevor Lawrence, no. Peyton Manning, no. Andrew Luck, no. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that's why we rarely ever see these guys make the playoffs, and this guy could. And to go into Caleb's question a little more, the Bears are currently plus 265 to win the division, Packers plus 210, and Lions plus 150. So, and then
Yeah.
the Vikings plus 1,000. So Vegas clearly doesn't think it's that crazy either.
Reagan, I don't know if you saw who was the guy that said Caleb. Oh no, it was RG3, dude. I can't stand fucking RG3. I think he's such a dumbass.
You
He's
hate
saying
him on you hate
he's
him on
just
Twitter.
so dumb, bro. He says the dumbest shit. He's saying Caleb Williams should pull an Eli Manning and force himself to not go there. And everyone's like, it's the best possible position for a number 1 overall pick ever.
It's also a huge market too.
DJ Moore, who had 1,300 yards last year with Justin Fields, who has shown he has not been a strong pocket passer yet. He struggles to read defenses. He struggles to get to a second read. There was Tyson Badgett there for a little bit. DJ Moore had 1,300 yards his first season there. You had Keenan Allen, who had a monster season last year, is one of the best route runners in football. You just took Darnell Wright, right tackle at Tennessee last year at number 10 overall. You have a not great offensive line, but there's young pieces on it. It's solid. And you have a defense in the back half of the year last year was great. Why wouldn't you want to go play in Chicago? It's a city that loves football. It's a cool city. Why would you force yourself to the Commanders? Like, that makes no sense, dude. No sense. Chicago's the best spot. I'd prefer to go to Chicago than Washington, New England, Minnesota, Denver, New York. All of them.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. There's not many situations where you could get 2 top 20 wide receivers.
Also, it's such a historic franchise, and the fans have been just craving a star quarterback since Jay Cutler. I mean, was he even a star? He was good.
They've never had a star.
They've never had a legit superstar quarterback, man. If you are that guy for Chicago and you get him back to the top, they're gonna build you a fucking statue.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this Bears teams. Honestly, the Bears and the Packers, I'm excited for both of them. I still not a big Lions guy, and obviously Minnesota, I'll root for Sammy D if he's the starter.
Yeah, I'll root for Sammy D too. I fuck with Sammy D.
But all right, what do we got next, Dave?
Second and last question: Are the Lions a top 3 team entering next season?
In the league?
No,
Yeah, in the league.
no, no.
Hmm.
I don't know. I find it hard to say that they'd be a top 3 team in the league. I don't know about you guys, but
I'd
I mean,
find it difficult to put them over San Francisco, over Kansas City, and over
no, you
Baltimore
can't.
off the top of my
I
head.
don't
Those
think you
three.
can.
You want to
I,
argue
I mean,
Dallas? You want to argue Philly?
I'd still put Philly over them. I'd still put honestly, I'd put the Bengals over them, and I'd put the Bills over them. I'd put the Jets over them. I'd
You
put the
can't,
Texans
dude.
over them.
Okay. You as a Bills hater is going to put the Bills over the Lions. The same Lions that just went
Yes,
12 and 5
because let
last
me
year.
explain. Let
That
me
went 12
explain.
and 5 last year and lost to
Yes.
the Niners in the game they could have won in the NFC Championship.
Yes, because the Bills are by far the better team. They just play in the AFC, which is a lot more stacked.
They
I'm
are.
not trying to use. I'm
How
not
are they the
trying to
better
use.
team now? On paper, they are not a better roster than Detroit.
No, they're not. Not on paper, no. But at the end of the day, Josh Allen is better than Jared Goff, and that gives them the
Yes.
edge. And
Yes, he's better than Jared Goff,
and
but
that's something. And Walmart made a good point on that because I was like, look, the Bills' Super Bowl window is closed, but he makes a good point. Your Super Bowl window is never closed when you have one of the elite quarterbacks. So I do, in that sense, respect him. And honestly, dude, you're acting like it's that far fetched, but that's a reason why they both have the same odds to win the Super Bowl right now. The Bills and the Lions.
when did you last check that? Did you check that before they traded
Just now
Stephon
before
Diggs?
it.
Just now?
Yes, just now. Plus 1200, plus 1200. I
Who the
think the
fuck
only
is
reason
taking the Bills at plus 1200 right now?
I think it's a whole Josh Allen effect. I mean, honestly, if they played in the NFC, they would be ahead of the Lions. It's just they play in the AFC and they all eat each other up. In my opinion, the Bills are a better team. They just have a way harder path to get there. Way harder path. Do you
Well,
want to say
absolutely.
Do you want to say the Lions are the second best team in the NFC? Sure. I think you could debate Philly or Dallas still, but yeah, you have to say they are because they went the farthest out of those 3 teams. So yeah, they're 2 in the NFC, but I'd still put Baltimore. I'd obviously put Kansas City over them, and I would put Buffalo. I think you could make a case for the Jets, Bengals, Texans. I think there's a lot of teams in the AFC.
The
I don't
Orioles
think
just
you.
walked it
I
off.
don't.
Sorry to
I
interrupt.
know. I'm watching. It's
Let's
literally right behind the
go.
screen. Let's go. You can't argue the Jets are better because we haven't seen it come together yet.
It's
Like
unproven.
we haven't
It's unproven.
seen on paper. Yeah, that roster looks loaded, but we haven't seen them gel. So you
You could
can't
even
put
say-
them over a team that lost in the NFC Championship last year.
If you want to get really
Niners.
crazy, and maybe it's not even that great, but you could even say the freaking Packers are better than the Lions. I mean, they beat the fuck out of them on Thanksgiving, and they gave. I mean, they both gave the 49ers a great fight, but I mean,
You
I
can't
don't
say
know.
the Packers are better than the team that won the division last year and won 3 more games than them.
Yeah, but they came on so late in the season. You know what I mean? Like the Lions were supposed to be there. I don't think the Packers came on later in the year and they came out hot in the playoffs. I mean,
You can't
they
say
beat
the Packers are
crap
better.
out of the Lions. I
You
don't
can't say
know.
the Packers are better. You can't
It'll
say
be
the Bills are
interesting.
better.
I mean, you can definitely say the Bills are better.
You can't,
Look,
dude. You
why
can't.
not?
They lost because of everyone they lost. Diggs, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White,
we'll
Jordan
see.
Poyer.
We'll see.
They lost offensive linemen.
No, I
They
understand.
lost so
I
much
understand
talent.
they lost a ton, but at the end of the day, Josh Allen is 10 times better than Jared Goff. So
I'm not arguing
that's
who's
my
better
biggest
quarterback. Just the
And
roster as a whole.
I don't ever
Detroit's
like to
elite.
argue. I don't want to argue with Vegas either. Like the fact that they're at the same price point tells you that the quarterback is just such a huge factor. I don't know. The draft will tell us a lot, but yeah, if the one team has a better path, it's the Lions. But who do I think is better? The Bills. Like if you put the Bills in the NFC and it's a hypothetical, I would definitely think they would go farther than the Lions.
All right. That wraps up questions. We're going to take a short break and then we're going to give out our division grades.
All right, guys, welcome back in. We're going to get right into the division grades. Let's start with the Lions. Obviously,
No. We always start with the worst team, dude. We start with the Bears.
the Bears. Ah, fuck.
We
Yeah,
start with the Bears.
I forgot.
Go,
It's been a
go.
couple weeks. It's been a
Idiot.
couple weeks.
Idiot.
Oh man.
The Chicago Bears went 7-10 this season. Obviously, they're the number 1 overall pick, thanks to the Carolina Panthers. Their own pick is 9th. Offensively, 20th in total, 18th in scoring. Defensively, 12th in total, 20th in scoring. Reagan, what grade did you land on for the Chicago Bears?
So this was a tough one because honestly, you can give them 2 grades for the season because they obviously started out looking like an F, and then by the end of it, they looked like about a B. But yeah, I gave him a C here because you know what? This was a team that people thought could be a fringe playoff team. I believe the win total was set at 8.5,
7.5. I took under
seven
seven
and a
and a
half.
half.
So they ended up winning 7 games. I mean, it wasn't a great season. It was definitely one to build off of. Obviously, from the trade for with the Panthers, that might as well give you a grade bump right there. But yeah, they really set themselves up well. It's something to build off of. I mean, obviously, it sucks the Justin Field experiment didn't pan out, but at the end of the day, hey, you're going to get a much more talented guy. So I gave him a C. I would have liked to see more down the stretch, especially because they're really fighting for a playoff spot. But you wish the defense didn't take that long to click. But they got and honestly, I like their line. I mean, Tevin Jenkins ain't bad. Darnell Wright's not bad, and then obviously they made some good moves in free agency. So I'm really excited to see what they can become. But what did you give them?
I landed on a B minus. It's hard to give them higher than that considering they went 7-10. However, this team reminds me a lot of the Lions from last year, where started off slow, back half of the year, started winning some games and playing some competitive football, and it looked like all right, we're ready to roll. Lions had a lot of premier draft capital last year. Now, what happens this year? The Bears have premier draft capital at the top to add to a roster that they've been adding to with a ton of cap space all off season. We mentioned Keenan Allen earlier. I mean, up and down the board. You send Montez Sweat. Reminds me a lot of the Lions. So the way that they turned it around the second half of the season kind of inched it up for me a little bit, up to a B minus. Defense was a big part of it. Obviously, we talked about Sweat. We talked about Jalen Johnson. The trade with Carolina, one of the best in NFL history, and DJ Moore looked like an alpha wide receiver one. He's everything Chicago hoped he would be. It just sucks that with DJ Moore, Justin Fields couldn't take that next step. And it's almost a positive and negative. At least now, I mean, I really would have been interested to see what would have happened if Carolina was picking third, and if they had the choice of Drake May or Jaden Daniels or JJ McCarthy as opposed to, all right, let's just take the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. That would have been really intriguing to see. But ultimately, they got the number one pick. They could move on from Fields, so it stings a little bit less. But yeah, I went B minus. And I mean, obviously, if you can, we're not obviously incorporating the offseason into this, but if I can incorporate that, their grade would be higher.
Fair enough.
All right, Reagan. Minnesota Vikings 7-10, 10th in total offense, 22nd in scoring, 16th total defense, 13th scoring. What did you give the Vikings? Tough one here, considering the injuries to their most important players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because obviously they started out 0-3 with Kirk Cousins, so it's not like they were exactly winning games before he went down. I feel like I'm going to give him a C also just because of the Kirk Cousins injury, and obviously Justin Jefferson missed a lot of time, so it's hard to give them lower than that. Obviously, you can't give them higher than that, but when you have injuries to your two best players like that, it's going to be tough. Hey, if I could just grade Nick Mullins, I'd give slanging that thing an A+. I
Oh,
enjoyed
he's
watching
slang
him.
that thing.
Kevin O'Connell, I give you an F for even thinking of starting what's his name? The bum they put out from BYU. And the fact that I know what college he went to, but I'm blanking out on his name. It's gonna come to me. Oh my gosh, he's such a bum. He's such a bum. And then ruined our around the felt parlay that night when we took Jefferson yards when he had like 10, and then as soon as Slang and Jaron Hall.
Jaron Hall, yeah.
So as soon as Slang and that thing comes in, I mean, I remember the one week I predicted him to have like 400 passing yards and he had like 395. So love that guy. Obviously Jordan Addison, he turned out to be the real deal. Ton of touchdowns. I mean, from a dynasty perspective, you got to expect regression. I mean, touchdowns are one of the things that always regress, whether it's positively or negatively. And I think it's going to be
regress means negative. You don't regress upwards. That's not what the word means.
Spoke when spoken to. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Addison clearly proved to be a top guy. Even when Jefferson went down, he showed he could do a lot. So he's a guy I'd be looking at in Dynasty. Definitely go out and target him. TJ Hawkinson, he went down too. That's another guy they lost.
Yeah, man.
So just a lot of brutal injuries. I mean, the defense has a lot of issues, and we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be next season. But this is a recapping, so we can get into that more in the mock draft season. But I gave him a C because at the end of the day, they still went 7-10 when they didn't have Kirk Cousins most of the year, and obviously Jefferson, you didn't have him most of the year either. So
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I also gave him a C. I just kind of give teams a C when your starting quarterback goes down. Like it's a wash, dude. Like what are you gonna do? The season's ruined from that point. The record looks bad at 7-10, but they competed with Mullins at the helm, with Josh Dobbs at the helm for a little bit, the pastronaut. And you didn't have Jefferson with the hamstring for, I want to say, 7 or 8 games. That was tough. At least a positive from that is Jordan Addison got a lot of reps and a lot of targets, and he looks like a legit number 2 behind Jetta's. Positive, as you mentioned. I mean, Kirk Cousins leaves a gaping hole at quarterback. That's why they got that second first round pick from Houston. They now have 11 and 23 to move up and get their guy. That's what we all anticipate is going to happen. And the offense is set up for a rookie quarterback to be successful if they want to play him. Obviously, you have Darnold that can be that bridge, but they have 2 stud offensive tackles in Darisaw and O'Neal. Jettas, Addison. You brought in Aaron Jones, Hawkinson. That's a good offense, man. If a quarterback can piece it together, they can score some points, which was what we saw in 2022. The defense in 2022 was terrible. And at the beginning of the year, it was terrible again. But finishing 16th in total and 13th in scoring, I mean, that's not bad. It's not too bad compared to what it was. They figured it out a little bit. They did lose Daniil Hunter, though. That's going to be tough for them to fill that role, especially when you gave up a lot of draft capital, get a
Yeah, but
second
they got
first,
they got
and
the
now
guy
you
from the
might
Texans.
Grenard. Yeah, but
Yeah,
Grenard's not as good as. I mean, Grenard's younger, but he's not as good as Hunter.
Hunter. Yeah, obviously, but
Yeah, they kind of swapped, but he's younger, so we'll see. They still need to address the defense, I think, but the offense is set up to be successful, whether that's JJ McCarthy potentially, Drake May, Jaden Dan. I
dude,
mean, I don't know.
I actually think like if they give Darnold the chance, they could be sneaky. I think Darnold could have a big year because when you look at the teams he's had around him, this is by far the most talented. I mean, obviously he was on the 49ers, but he was never going to be the quarterback last year. So this is by far the most talented roster he's been around where he's been had a chance to actually play. Because think about it. Look at all those Jets teams. They didn't give him any weapons close to even Jordan Addison's level, let alone Hawkinson and Jettas and Aaron Jones. And then you look at the Panthers teams, like, yeah, he had McCaffrey, and DJ Moore, a young DJ Moore, but this is by far the most talented roster around him. So I don't know. I could see a Geno-esque season where he has a great year after not really proving much in his career and then ends up getting a contract extension with them in the offseason, similar to the Geno situation. So
Ooh, I
wouldn't
think the
be
Geno comp is interesting, Reagan. I
wouldn't
think
be
that's
shocked at
interesting.
all. Just another
Yeah,
Jets quarterback
I
figuring it
like
out, not with the Jets.
I like that. I would love that for Sammy D. Now, obviously, people are talking about Justin Jefferson. Is he going to want to sign an extension there? Jefferson will be the highest paid wide receiver ever when he gets his deal. Will Minnesota pay him that is a question. But if you do get a rookie quarterback, instead of paying Kirk Cousins 40 plus million a year when he's 35 years and older, you can afford to pay Justin Jefferson that mega contract. They have said they want him to stay in purple. I'd have to imagine they get it done.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, you could really set yourself up for the future by trading him, but that is one of the best players in the NFL. So
You don't
it's
trade a guy like
tough.
that. You just can't. You
It's
can't.
tough. I mean, you'd have to fully and then the Aaron Jones move tells me that they wouldn't do that. Like a lot of the offseason moves make it hard for me to believe that they would be doing that. I mean, if they did it, I wouldn't hate it just because you're really setting yourself up with capital. I mean, you'd have to think a guy like that would fetch multiple first round picks. So you'd really have to be like kicking the tires and just going into the rebuild mode. But all the offseason moves say that they will pay him.
Absolutely. All right, Reagan, let's transition to the Green Bay Packers. We've touched on them a lot tonight, talking about what they were able to accomplish this year. 11th in total offense, 12th in scoring, 17th in total defense, 10th in scoring. What grade did you give the Packers
A B
after a 9 and
plus.
8 season, but a playoff win in Dallas?
A B plus because yeah, they got the playoff win in Dallas. And obviously I gave the Bucks a lot of crap, but you know what? The Packers were in a harder division. They went and kicked the crap out of a Dallas team that didn't lose one game in the regular season at home, and they made them look foolish. And they were beating the crap out of the 49ers team. Yes, they didn't win. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you win, you won. So good for the Niners. But still, they were, I mean, they were so damn close to the NFC Championship game. Jordan Love proved to be the real deal. The defense figured it out at the end. And honestly, yeah, maybe a B plus is a little bit high because if you look at their record, how are you going to give a 9 and 8 team a B plus? But you know what? I'm sold on this team. I really like what I saw in the second half, and the fact that they killed the Cowboys and hung in there with a very good 49ers team. I mean, they were in the freaking Super Bowl. Big things to come in the Green Bay. And like you said earlier, Green Bay, you got another one.
God damn it, Reagan. I'm agreeing with you way too much tonight.
Mm.
I also had a B plus. I mean, it's all about expectations. You went into last season with a question mark at quarterback. People were like, okay, did you waste a first round pick during Aaron Rodgers' prime for a guy that sucks? You didn't know. And you had a lot of young guys around him, and you figured it was going to be tough in the beginning until they found their groove. Well, they did. And I don't think many people expected them to win a playoff game last year. I will say, not to toot my own horn, I did have the Packers in the playoffs,
I did.
but
I'm up winning the Super Bowl to toot
I
my horn.
had, and yeah, in your playoff 2.0 after Cleveland got fucking thromped, but it's all right. We won't have to talk about that, Reagan. I did pick LaFleur to win Coach of the Year. It just so happened so many coaches did a phenomenal year, and they only had a 9-8 regular season record, so wasn't warranted. But he did have a hell of a year in the way that he's developed Jordan Love. I think he's proven that he's one of the game's best head coaches. He's in that top 10 territory back half, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the guy just puts in winning season after winning season.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely. And he's shown that
and
he's an offensive guru.
I will say, I mean, I think you can always make a case that it was a wasted pick. I mean, no matter how good Jordan Love pans
You
out,
could.
I still think there's a world where you're like, look, you had the MVP, you had an MVP, like, or I guess did they draft him before he won either MVP? I think that's what kind of lit the fire under his ass. But still, it's like at the end of the day, you have an MVP caliber quarterback, and you went
Yeah,
and
they
drafted
they
a
took
quarterback in
him
the first round. Like,
in
I don't know.
2020, right? They
I
took him
think
in 2020. Then Rodgers won MVP in 21 and 22.
Yeah, so I think no matter what, like whether he could be the best quarterback of all time, or he could end up being like this is his ceiling, and it just goes downhill from here. Who knows? There's so many outcomes. I think no matter what, it's a wasted pick because I don't think there's any way to say like, hey, they never should have drafted him. If it works out, like, hey, good thing it worked out. Like you knew more. That's why you're the NFL executive. But still, I don't think there's any world where you can say that wasn't the wrong pick there. Like I
I
don't
did
know.
see this argument on Twitter actually like a couple weeks ago. It was like, would you rather have had a Super Bowl in 2021 or you've seen what Jordan Love is or have Jordan Love for the rest of his career? And I think
Yeah,
it'd be stupid to say Jordan Love just because
Super
having a
Bowl.
Super Bowl it's so difficult to do and having one in your pocket, like you can't turn that down. Now, if Jordan Love goes out and wins 3, 4 Super Bowls, all right,
Yeah,
Packers were right. They were right. Even though they didn't
yeah.
win one during that Aaron Rodgers window, I don't think they anticipated Rodgers to be that good.
And the funny thing is, I still feel like if Jordan Love wins like 2 Super Bowls, I'm still gonna feel like it's a wasted pick. Like I still like I don't think there's any
No,
world
you
where I don't
can't.
think
If he wins
it's
two, you
so.
can't.
I know, but it's just still like why? Like why? Like the pick is still like one of the most head scratching picks ever.
I'd be really curious. We'll never know, but
It's just
who
like
who was the number one player on their board at the time that
yeah,
wasn't
I don't
Jordan
know.
Love? Like who would they have taken? And we could look back now a couple years later and be like, would it have made a difference? Could they have won a Super Bowl? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting topic, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I digress, Reagan. I mean, solid
Digress.
season, overexceeded
Digress.
expectations, winning a
Won't you?
playoff game. Jordan Love looks like the answer. B plus. We're in agreement. All right, the Detroit Lions, 12-5, winners of the AFC North, third in total offense, fifth in scoring offense, 19th in total defense, 23rd in scoring. What did you give the Lions? You are the biggest Detroit Lions hater I've ever met, so I'm really
Well,
curious to see what you landed on here.
they did exceed expectations, at least my expectations. I'll give them an A minus because at the
Damn
end of the
it.
day, look, the defense still is a huge issue. Like, and honestly, the way they got to the 49ers, they weren't able to get it done. I think at that point, like looking at the NFC, it's a lot weaker. So you'd hope they could get to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna give them an A minus. If they were able to get to the Super Bowl, it would have been an A. And then obviously if they won, they would have been an A plus. So I think an A minus because hey, you still in year 3 of Dan Campbell, it's been up, 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 and now you're one of the best teams in the NFL. I'd say at this point the second best team in the NFC. So great things to come. I'd like to see them get better on the defensive side of the ball. It was a big issue all season. I mean, the offense, you said it. I mean, this was one of the best in football. They were able to just have their way with a lot of teams. That offensive line is disgusting. The run game was great. And in the play action, I mean, I don't know if there's any team that does it better than Detroit. And obviously a lot of that is because they established their run so well. But St. Brown, he's him. I know before the season I expected him to have a big year, and he certainly did. I mean, over 100 catches, 1,500
You had
yards,
him
and
as
10
offensive player of the
touchdowns.
year, right?
I did, yeah, and he didn't win it, but he damn near he put up numbers that you could have won it in the different years. I mean,
Yeah.
he had an offensive player of the year type season. It's hard when other guys are putting up even crazier numbers, but he had a hell of a year. If I have him in Dynasty, I'd be thrilled. It seems like a guy that'll be good for a long time. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do in the draft.
God damn it, Reagan. I also have an A- for the Lions, dude. I swear. You didn't look at my notes, did you? You didn't look
I
at my
did not. I don't think you even shared them with me.
Oh, it's been shared for a month, but that's fine. Yeah,
Wow.
I mean,
Notes.
ultimately, 12 wins is very difficult to do in the NFL. They lost a game they could have won against San Francisco in the NFC Championship, and they proved that the second half of the season in 2022 was not a fluke. This team was ready to compete. It's an elite young roster, talents all over the place, and they got shit on for taking Gibbs at 12 last year and Campbell at 18, a running back and a linebacker in the first round. Well, when they played the way they did, positional value kind of goes out the window a little bit. Plus, it helps that you got Laporta and Brian Branch in the second round, and they hit on both of those picks too. So they hit on 4 guys in the top 2 rounds that look to be legitimate players that can help them win a Super Bowl. Really impressive out of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has shown that he can be a really good coach in this league. People buy in. People talk about how they want to play for a guy like that. That is so important. Jared Goff proved that the end of 2022 wasn't a fluke. He has shown that he's not an elite quarterback, but he's a legitimate starter. You can win with him. Now, can you win a Super Bowl with him? That's the question. It's so difficult to win a Super Bowl without an elite quarterback. The Rams almost did it with Goff, but they came up short. You need a really good roster around a guy like Jared Goff to get it done. And they might have that roster, Reagan. They still have cap space. It's Super Bowl or bust next year, in my opinion. They still do have some holes to address. I'd like to see them add another legit wideout opposite of Amon-Ra. I think that could really take the offense to an even another level, even though it was top 5 last year. Their biggest hole, though, is the secondary.
Yeah,
obviously, shit going on with Cam Sutton. He's gone. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, even though he was hurt last year for a lot of the season, he did come back, though. He's gone. He's back in Philly. I think Detroit has to be targeting secondary in the draft early and often. I mean, maybe another pass rusher wouldn't hurt either, but yeah, I think this team is set up for success next year. I'd be really surprised if they don't win double-digit games.
Yeah, I mean, and with the whole wide receiver thing, I mean, obviously you had hoped that freaking Jamison Williams would pan out. I mean, he definitely showed flashes, but he's not living up to the draft capital where he took him, so that doesn't help. I mean, honestly, the more I think about it, you could even give him a B plus because when you look at who they beat in the playoffs, like yeah, they beat who's in front of them, but they had an easy path through it. They beat the Rams, a team way over both teams they beat way over exceeded expectations. Were teams that most people said weren't even going to hit their win total, let alone make the playoffs in the Rams and the Bucks. So I don't know,
but they did hang with the Niners.
They did hang with the
Niners.
Were up.
They were up
did
late,
hang with
man.
the Niners,
they
but
were
they
up
also
late.
let
Yeah.
the Rams and the Bucks hang with them. So
Yeah,
I'm getting a little nitpicky here, but I think you could make a case for a B plus because at the end of the day, like with how dominant their offense was all year, you would have liked to see them steamroll through both of those teams who really don't have good defenses.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Jamison Williams too, Reagan, because I've been stashing him in both my dynasty leagues. I was really impressed, I want to say, or I was excited for what he did in the playoffs, especially the 2 touchdown game. Like he showed that he looks healthy, like he was coming back from a torn ACL that he suffered. He finally had a full off season. He was still recovering. And even though he did show some excitement and big playability, I just don't know if he will ever develop the consistency to be a plug and play starter in fantasy. That's kind of what I'm worried about. Like he can be a big play threat and he can be a nice gadget player, but can he become more consistent that you can give him 7 to 10 targets a game? And he's going to, because he has had some drops in the past. I'd like to see him develop more route running and get him the ball more in space, like I don't know. I still think adding another receiver though to take pressure off him would be beneficial to the offense.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, like they got Kevin Zeitler. They brought back Glass now.
Oh yeah, they got Zeitler. They have the best offensive line in football.
Yeah,
I think with Kelsey retiring in Philadelphia, with Tyron Smith leaving Dallas. Like the doors, it's Detroit, man. Penny
Yeah.
Sewell, Taylor Decker, uh, like you just mentioned, Zeitler's been
Zeitler, Glass now
very
back.
reliable. Yeah, Glass. I mean, come on, dude. It's the
Yeah.
best. It's the best offensive line in football. Not even close, in my opinion.
And they did make some moves on the defensive side. They got some veterans, DJ Reader, and then they also brought
Oh,
in
that's right.
Marcus
DJ Reader's a
Davenport. So,
stud,
but I
dude.
still like even with bringing in Marcus Davenport, I still think they should get another edge rusher. Side
Yes,
of
I
things.
agree 100%. Davenport never lived up to his draft status. DJ Reader, though, is a beast in the interior. He's a run stuffer, so that's a great addition for them. I'm sure
Yeah,
Jack Campbell's pretty pumped about that.
I think in the first they gotta be targeting secondary. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
number one thing you could point to because they could go wide receiver, but I just don't. I think secondary they have to.
Yeah. I'd like to go. I'd like to see him go secondary as well.
Well,
Unless
sounds
there's just like a guy. If there's a, I mean, if you have like Brian Thomas Jr., for example, from LSU, is your number 11 player on the board when you're picking, and he's just staring you in the face, best player available.
Well, yeah, because they do have the luxury of doing that. If there's like someone like that where it's like, whoa, he's like one of our best guys on the board and he fell this far. Okay. And they've clearly shown they will go best player available after last, or they'll go
Yes.
based off of their board, not off of what Mel Kiper tells you.
Absolutely.
So cool. All right. You ready for trivia, Mr. Drock?
Yeah, let's get this trivia going. What's the score, Reagan? Is it 5-1?
I think
Yeah,
so.
it's 5-1.
I
It's
beat you over
5-1.
the summer, though.
I'm whooping that ass. It's already over. This is just for fun. I'm just playing with my food now.
Just for shits and giggles, whatever.
Whoa! Wait, where am I?
Nowhere to be found.
You're MIA.
Oh, there he is.
There
Dance
I
monkey,
am.
dance monkey, dance monkey. Whoa.
Oh.
Oh, wow, look at him.
Okay. Do. It's trivia time.
That's a Sports Center jingle.
I know. What's the Jeopardy one?
Come up with a better one for yourself.
Yeah.
I want to hear
Drock.
the Drock jingle.
For this life I cannot change. Hidden. All right. First question. Tricky one to start off. How many passing touchdowns did Jared Goff have? Colin.
28.
Wrong. Very good.
23.
Wrong. 30.
Fuck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, round. I was gonna say round number, but that would have given away. For
No,
whoever
you can't do
first.
that. You can't help us like that.
Nope. Second question. Who had the most rushing? Who had the most rushing touchdowns in the division? Reagan.
David Montgomery.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding.
Hey.
One
Obviously.
Third question. How many rushing touchdowns did Montgomery have? Colin.
12.
Wrong. Reagan.
13.
Bang!
Shit, dude. I knew 13
That
popped in my
boy.
head first, and I was like,
That was the first number that
12.
popped in my head, and I'm like, he's gonna say it, but nope.
I was gonna say it.
2-0.
I was gonna say it. Fuck. That
Fourth
hurts.
question. Who had the most receiving yards in the division? Reagan.
What?
St. Brown.
Correct.
My hand was up first. It was just cut out.
Yeah,
No,
you know
well.
what? That's for you to put it up closer to the screen. So
Dude,
3-0,
oh my
Reagan.
God, bro. I put my hand up at least half a second before Reagan did.
Yeah, you guys are on the same Wi-Fi, so you got to give me like at least a second delay.
Who had the most interceptions? Reagan.
Okay, it would be Jared Goff.
Sorry. Who got the most receptions? Not threw the most receptions.
Oh, all right. Do I gotta go?
Defensively.
Who had the
You're
most
fine.
receptions?
You're fine. If you want, you can put your hand back down and think about it before you raise it back up if you want, but that doesn't count.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that. I don't know, dude. There's so many guys it could be. Ah, fuck.
Dave, my hand's up.
Yeah.
Baldy.
Shoot it.
Jerry Alexander.
Oh no, he was injured a lot of the year. If it's actually him, I'd be shocked.
Oh, was he? I forgot, dude. Season ended fucking 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll go with Sutton on the Lions.
He was also hurt.
Was he?
Wrong.
No.
I'm not gonna lie. I may have the wrong one for this. So
Oh.
Wow, phenomenal job, David.
yeah. So
Who'd
we're
you
gonna get
say?
back. We're gonna get back to that.
Okay.
We can always ask that again. You guys can shoot again. Okay. Now, a little different switch up. We're going with an over/under question. So I guess whoever's
Okay.
going to raise their hand the first gets to answer it.
Wait,
I think-
over under.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
then
so-
what happens if he
the
doesn't get
lose to
it?
nothing.
It's-
Then you're just wrong. Yeah, the loser just doesn't get it then because that's
So
so
just
dumb.
raise your hand right away and then just guess 50-50 and the loser gets nothing.
All right. I guess we can scratch the over/under, and I'll just do the stat on here. How many interceptions did Jordan Love throw?
Oh yeah, that's better.
Because I was going to go over/under on that. Go for it.
You probably set the line at over under 11.5, and he threw 12.
Wrong.
On which
I,
part?
bel- I believe he threw 8.
Wrong. 10.
So
Split
would
it.
the line
Just
have
split
been
it.
9.5
Yeah.
or 10.5?
Kind of obvious. I threw it over/under there. I was just trying to mix it up a little bit.
I
All
like
right.
it though.
Still 3-0. Who had the most rushing touchdowns on the Packers? I'm gonna go Reagan, bro. I think Reagan's hand was up.
No,
Yeah.
fine. Let him have it. Let him have it. I don't want the limit.
Okay.
Go.
All
No,
right.
go ahead, Reagan. Go ahead. Go.
All
You
right.
gave it
AJ
to him.
Dillon.
Wrong.
Aaron Jones.
Wrong. Oh
Yeah,
wait.
I knew it wasn't Aaron Jones. There's no way. Otherwise, it's a
Yeah, but
stupid
AJ, that's
question.
why I was like, hold on. Jones was hurt, but Dylan sucked.
Yeah. I don't know. It could
Jaden
have
Reed
been
only had like
Jordan Love.
2.
I don't know. It could have been him. I mean, I wish our question guy had the answers, but
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Sorry.
I
The
mean,
internet's breaking it out. One
I'll
second.
find it out quick, I guess. I mean, we'll just go to stats. And then
Jordan
we'll go-
Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love with 4.
Correct. It was Jordan Love.
Reed, Jones, and Dillon all had 2. That's embarrassing.
Jones had 2.
I assumed it wasn't Jones because
Okay.
I'm assuming just going off a regular.
Yeah,
season.
no,
I
I had
also knew
Jordan
AJ
Love.
Dillon couldn't score inside the 10, so
I had Jordan Love. I just thought that I was wrong because you kept saying that it could have been one of those guys. All right. Next question.
It's a good one. I knew it was a trick question.
Who had the most rushing touchdowns on the Vikings? Reagan.
Ty Chandler.
Correct.
it's
the
crazy
boy.
because Ty Chandler played like 5 games. Just Alexander Madison didn't score.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Reagan's up 4-0.
Get my ass kicked.
Which wide receiver on the Bears had a rushing touchdown last year? Colin.
Equiminius St. Brown.
Wrong.
Dude, that's who I was gonna say. That's crazy. Damn, bro, that's who I was gonna say. I mean, I want to go more, but I feel like that's too obvious. So maybe I'll just go Mooney.
Wrong. It was more.
Felix Jones. It was more. Huh?
Oh,
Damn, dude, it was more.
That was a good
that's
question,
good
right?
though, because he's been
Yeah,
doing
well,
a
you
lot of
just-
trick questions.
I
and
thought
then
it was a trick question. You think like a gadget type player in an end around. You don't think it was DJ
Yeah.
Moore.
You guys want another one?
sure.
Yeah,
Which
fuck it.
which running back on the Bears had a receiving touchdown? Reagan.
Deontay Foreman.
Wrong.
What?
Really?
Swore Dave.
Well, it's down to 2.
No, actually, it's not.
Well, it's Herbert or Roshan. Who else? I'm gonna go Roshan.
Wrong, Herbert. Jeez, man, you guys are so
Dave,
fucking close.
Dave Foreman did have a touchdown. I'm looking. He has a receiving touchdown. Both, but I should win that because Foreman and Herbert both had it. He said Roshan, but I was right technically.
It's on me.
Oh, you can't see. Yeah, Herbert and Foreman both had one, but I'm already up 4-0. I don't need the extra.
Just give it to him. Just fucking
Yeah.
give it to him.
No. We're not giving it to you.
Yeah, don't
need-
give it to him.
No.
Whatever. I'm
All
up
right.
4-0. I don't
We
care,
have a
but
lot
that's
of questions
bullshit.
left, so
I'm getting
Colin,
fucked with my fucking hand cutting out here.
You could, yeah. You need
Just
some
gonna
better
go like this.
lighting in that.
Little
Wherever
bit
the-
of chicken wing, huh?
Your
Crack?
your freaking
Nah,
penthouse
it's
needs
too
better
zesty.
lighting in the living room.
Because when I go, it just disappears.
He's got wide shoulders. It's not his fault.
Okay, we got a lot of questions left. So, Colin, you could make a comeback.
I
But
did it before. I'll do it again.
It is 4-0. Okay, next question. Who had the most tackles on the Bears? Total overall tackles.
Oh, I know this.
Colin,
Jaquan Brisker.
wrong.
God, come on, man. Give me one.
Terrell Edmonds.
Wrong. TJ Awards.
Who?
TJ Edwards.
Sorry, I didn't put the E in. Oops.
I heard TJ Wards. I'm like, who is that? I figured it was one of those two. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, these next three are very, very simple. So get ready to fire and make sure your hands in front of your face. Which team had the most total overall yards in the division? Very good.
Lions.
There's no
Correct.
way Reagan's hand was up
On
first.
my
There's no
screen,
fuck.
it was.
You're
On
not
my
even
screen,
looking.
On my screen, it definitely was.
No
It
way,
was.
dude.
It was.
There's no
It was.
way.
We can watch.
I
Tomorrow.
also
Like,
said
watch-
on the podcast who had the most yards. Like,
I mean, that's not like I don't think that's a hard one. There was
All
one.
right,
team that
6
had the best
questions
offense
left.
in
So,
football.
Colin, you want to win this shit? You got to win it outright.
well, I'm getting fucking screwed over by the fucking ref. This is fucking bullshit, bro. It's like I'm Aaron Judge and you're calling a ball fucking a foot below my knees as a strike.
I'd hate to be
6'8",
Colin's teammate later
dude,
on. You know,
me
Dave's
up.
gonna be making food later on. Colin's gonna be, dude, that was fucking bullshit. That was fucking bullshit on the pod.
We're gonna watch
earlier.
a
No.
Dodgers game.
You're a
He's gonna be
douche. You're a
pissed off.
douche.
No, you know what?
gonna
I'm
walk
watching
in
the
and
Dodgers
smack
game in my fucking room the way you're screwing me over.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
All right. This is another very, very easy question. Which team put up the least amount of points in the division? Reagan.
Vikings.
Wrong.
The Bears.
Correct.
Actually, that was so dumb because that's slang in that thing. I'm an idiot.
All right. 5-1. Next question. Which team had the most fumbles in the division? Reagan.
You look like a little fucking T-Rex the way you stick your arm up.
Detroit.
Wrong.
Like
It's obvious. It's obviously the Bears, dude. Justin Fields fumbles all the time.
Wrong. It's the Vikings.
Wow.
I should have stuck with them.
All right, Colin, you got to win outright to tie now.
It's fine. I already won the season series, so I'll give my
Okay.
little Velociraptor friend a win if he wants.
Lost. All right. Who had the most tackles in the division?
Oh, what's his name? I'm blanking out. No.
He's not.
Damn it. I'm blanking out. I'm going to be so pissed because I know he's a single digit number. I know what team he plays for.
It can't be.
What is his name? He's on the Packers. Damn it.
Dude, this is pissing me off.
He's on the Packers. I know he's on the Packers. I'm blanking out on his name.
Are you talking about the guy that's no longer on the Packers?
I forget if I don't know. Did he leave? He's a linebacker.
Campbell?
No, not him. The other
Did you
one.
raise your hand?
The other linebacker. I
No,
don't
I
know his
didn't.
name.
All right.
Do you know his name? Can you tell me? Can you phone a friend? Huh? The linebacker on the Packers. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
All right, you know
Quay
what?
Walker. Quay Walker.
Yes.
Quay Walker.
Wrong.
It's wrong.
Okay, but that's who I was thinking about. Cool.
Yeah.
Now that I got him out, that's
All right.
that's,
Well, it's-
that's
10,
legit.
9,
Is it TJ Edwards?
7.
Wait, hold on. You're not
Wrong.
up.
You
You're not
raised your
up.
hand. I take this as a raised hand. Colin.
Okay.
Reagan.
You already guessed twice anyway, bro.
Timer's up.
All
Jack
right,
Campbell.
fine. The dude.
We're just firing out shit.
Oh my gosh. Can I guess or no?
Yeah.
Roquan Smith.
I'll go with Harrison Smith.
Wrong. Cameron Bynum. How do I pronounce his name?
Cameron Byram, the Vikings corner.
Correct.
The Vikings corner led the what? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
In tackles?
This is all the
No, I
information I
mean-
received from our friend.
There's no
Okay.
fucking way.
All right. I
Okay. Now to the more very Colin, I'll give you 3 points if you can answer one of the next actually the last questions. So
No, I don't want your charity because
No,
I didn't
I'll
like
give
it
it
when
to
you
him.
gave Reagan that shit.
Okay. All right. So you're fully eliminated.
No, let's just see if we can get these real
I
quick.
I know,
Let's bang
but
them out.
you should take the 3 points because these are tough. Who had the 7th most receiving yards in the division last year?
Cole
Seventh.
Kmet.
Wrong.
Cole Kmet.
Bad guess, dude. That's an awful guess.
How is that an
Seventh.
awful guess?
There's no
Seventh
way you guys get this.
most receiving yards.
All right, dude. Stop trying to big brain it. Just fucking guess.
Dontavius Wicks.
Wrong. Jaden Reed.
Damn it, dude! I was
Oh.
gonna guess Reed. I was like, you said there's no way I'd get this. I would guess Reed because he's Michigan State. You're
He's
like,
not
"There's no
giving
way
hints,
you'd get
dude.
this."
He's not giving hints. That's smart, bro.
Okay. Next question. This one goes for 10. This is a 5-point question. 5. Actually, yeah, 5. Who had the sixth most sacks in the division?
Sixth most sacks.
Correct.
It's
Sacks.
kind of, it's kind of, it's kind of horse crap. If he gets this right, like he just takes the lead, like horse crap.
And he also only provided his last name.
You know what? I feel like that'd be foolish.
Colin.
Rashawn Gary.
Wrong. I have his first name now.
Sweat.
Yes. Let's go.
That's what I thought, dude, because I know he came on late. All right, I'm up 10-1.
Let's go.
I honestly thought there was a chance it could be
Wow.
Montez Sweat because I was like, you know what? When he came on, it changed that defense, and I'm like, there wasn't a lot of big sack guys on the team, so I'm like,
You know what?
maybe.
Next time I'm doing it to where I'm structuring the points. So the harder the questions, the more points you're going to get, so that we can make
Well,
it more
you
competitive.
can't change the format when there's one left.
I'm
This
up
could be
10-1,
the
bro.
next
I'm up
season
10-1.
thing.
I'm up
No,
10-1.
I'm saying like, yeah, next time we do this, I'm going to structure it differently.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if it's next season or tomorrow. I think we should just do it that way so that you can have more of an opportunity to come back. All right.
Yeah, because some of
Last
them
question.
are like softballs.
Last question for. I'll do 10 points.
So I lose if he gets this right.
Yeah. Who had the second most return yards in the division?
Velus Jones.
Wow. That was a snipe. That was
20-1. I win.
That was insane.
Velus Jones came to my mind
I
too.
only guessed that because you said that before.
Yeah, it's like what he
Wow.
does, you know? It's
And
the
I
only
just remember
return
him
guy I
being a
know
return-
off the. Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
obviously it's not the guy for the Packers. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Nixon. Yeah, Keyshawn Nixon. So
Jesus.
yeah.
All right,
He's
wow.
obviously won.
So
Wow,
Colin might be up
20-1,
in the-
Reagan. What an ass beating. Congrats.
I whooped that ass. Noworski's gonna be so pissed because he's like, "You're not gonna get any of my questions," and I'm like, "Oh, we'll see, bud."
You got two
But-
of them.
Yeah, both of them were just dart throws. Definitely didn't know either of them.
Hey, you should go buy a lottery ticket, my friend.
Fuck. How would I just serenade us now? All right, yeah. So that was quite the podcast, huh, fellas?
Yeah, that was a fun pod, man. We got one more division, the AFC East, and then it's full focus on the NFL draft. We were going to do a mock draft, Reagan. We have some of you guys coming on. We're going to have an 8-person mock draft the week of the draft. And I love the draft, man. Draft season is so much fun. I'm looking forward to getting into that.
Yeah. And for you NBA fans too, we're gonna do an NBA playoff preview. So we got a couple different things coming up in April. And guys, we are doing the golf scramble at Highbridge Hills on July 20th. So check us out. Official. That date is locked in. What are we gonna do, Dave?
Slam it.
Yes, sir. So that is officially slammed on the calendar. If you want to come, there's going to be a link. Just fill it out. We'd love to have all you guys. We think the price is fair. I mean, it's weekend golf, and it's going to include a lot of fun stuff. I mean, come on, beer,
Food, beer, prizes, golf. I mean, come on. You
prizes.
can't beat a Saturday like that in the summer. Come on.
No,
Come on.
you just can't. So
Yeah.
we'd love it if you guys signed up. It's going to be a blast. First place team gets to shave Dave's head, so it's a lot of cool things.
Wow, that's really incentivizing people to come. I'm not going to lie.
There's not much to shave, so it's a fucking lose.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Appreciate you tuning in. Later.